Good afternoon, friends. Been a couple of days since I've last posted, and reason for that is I was completely exhausted. Many of you may have heard that we had an earthquake in Salt Lake City, and I'm in Salt Lake, and it was a very scary experience, to be honest. We don't have many earthquakes in Utah. I've never experienced one in my life, and this one was a 5.7 magnitude at 7 in the morning. Strangely enough, and I still can't figure this one out, but I woke up precisely a minute before the earthquake began, wondering, why did I wake up? And then, a minute later, seconds later, started shaking really bad. So, woke everybody up, and we made through it. It was a very, very scary experience. And from what people in California have said, that are living here, that are working in the state of Utah, said, they're used to earthquakes in LA and different parts of Southern California. But what they said is that it was actually a very different experience. And I think it's because the ground is different here and the region is different. So they mentioned that when earthquakes happen in LA, buildings seem to go in a circular motion, but in Utah, it was just shaking really bad, and it was just a different experience. So very, very scary. And then we, had lots of aftershocks. Of course, certain people have used this time to produce, all types of fake material, and they put it out and scared the living crap out of people. They basically stated that the state of Utah is expecting one that's going to be 40 to 50% more power, and that's coming within the next 1 to 2 hours or 30 minutes. And different messages went out, and they spread virally all over the internet, scaring people. And that was later confirmed that it was not true. In fact, there was an email that came in from one of the leaders of the Mormon church. And I still don't know if that was an actual email that was sent by one of the leaders, or if that also was faked. But needless to say, that scared a lot of people. There were lots of aftershocks. One of the aftershocks I felt, again, I actually thought it was another earthquake coming in. It was short-lived, only about 3 to 4 seconds was the aftershock, but it was a good 4.6. And the difference was that the first quake was about 11 or so kilometers deep, and then the second one was, about 6 kilometers deep, so it was closer to the surface. And we've had aftershocks all day yesterday, and I slept through the one today, but apparently there was a good shake this morning as well, around 7 a.m. again. And so I slept through that. But nevertheless, yeah, it was a tough time. And I, because I went to sleep really late and ended up waking up very early, I was running at about, 4.5 hours of sleep. So I was completely exhausted and was unable to make a video. But I am here today. And as you know, the coronavirus is spreading. The president has been making addresses on a daily basis now. The Defense Protection Act, or Defense Production Act, has been put into effect. And I truly believe that we're getting closer and closer to a federally ran martial law. And I know that certain states like New York and California are talking about state-level martial laws being put into place. And I'd love to hear from those of you who live in those parts of the country. As you know, two large warships have been put into harbor on the two coasts, one in New York, one in California. Those have been retrofitted for those cases that are outside of the coronavirus infection. Basically, they're going to anybody who has other types of medical issues that are seeking medical advice and need to see a doctor, broken bones, etc., will be seen on those ships to separate them from the general public. My grandfather is also in a care center, and I've actually was just sending an email all day today, writing an email out to all the staff over there, talking about the neglect and abuse that folks are seeing, that these poor elderly people are experiencing. If you have somebody living in a nursing home, in a nursing facility, in a care center, understand that they've locked down a lot of these centers, and they're not allowing family to visit unless it's an emergency situation. And from what we have seen, that the care has completely diminished. They're not taking care of these people. My grandfather fell and broke his nose, had to be taken to our local hospital emergency center, emergency department, and he came in completely dehydrated and malnourished. And we've had these issues and talks with the staff at this facility, and we'll now be pulling him out of there over the next several days and taking him to for palliative care and or hospice care. And if all else fails, we will do our best to bring him home and take care of him ourselves. Unfortunately, we simply don't have the available time to do that, and that's the reason why we sought out such services. You know, we all run businesses, full-time jobs, and families just simply unable to care for him. But you know, we have been visiting, at least one person of the family had been visiting him daily. We bring him food, and unfortunately, from what I'm seeing, he's one of the lucky ones who gets this type of treatment, and from his family, others simply do not get visited for days or weeks, and sometimes even longer. And I hate to even think what type of care they're receiving there. The people at these facilities simply don't care, and they're just sucking money out from insurance companies, Medicaid, and Medicare funding that's provided to them. So, and just atrocious conditions. But you know, enough of that. We're working with those people there, and that email has been sent. Hopefully, someone from the Utah Department of Health and Adult Protective Services will be in touch, as well as the members of the staff that I had emailed, as far as the directors and etc. But yeah, so earthquake in Salt Lake City, we're apparently getting closer and closer to the big one, with Yellowstone, you know, being so overdue that I just had a conversation with a friend today saying that, you know what, we were likely to see this in our lifetime. And, you know, if that blows, we're all done. I think the majority of the country will not survive, and will be covered with, you know, waves of water from dams breaking, and everyone else who does survive won't live very long because of all the soot that will be in the air. So that really is something that affects us all, and unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do about it. But yes, and something that's it's not funny or anything, but certainly, as some say, is a sign of the times, is at the Mormon Temple downtown Salt Lake City, a very beautiful building and whole area. It's very pretty there. But at the top of one of the buildings, they have the statue of Moroni with a trumpet, and with the earthquake, the trumpet fell out of his hand and fell to the ground or elsewhere, maybe on a roof somewhere. And so people are saying that, you know, it's a sign of the times, and people are freaking out about that. But there's been a number of really funny memes, and you know, and I feel for the Mormon folks out there, because you know, if anything, I think they're more prepared than any of us. They're probably more prepared than the preppers themselves, because it is in their culture, and it's completely normal behavior for them to be preparing, because they're preparing for the second coming of Christ. Anyway, guys, I don't want to make this too long, but I will be making more videos. I will attempt to make additional videos as this thing progresses. But as you saw today, New York saw a huge influx of cases, lots of deaths. In fact, I'm going to look up the statistics here very quickly. So from what I'm seeing, we are currently sitting at nearly 250,000 cases, 244,895, just over 10,000 deaths. And you know, we're currently, you know, the numbers are basically showing the death rate of 10%. So that has increased. Of course, as always, China is not reporting anything, and if they did, I think they reported like 13 cases earlier today, and that has been, you know, probably accounted for the total. Italy had a huge explosion of 5,300 cases and 427 new deaths that had been reported. Iran, large numbers. Spain is seeing a spike of 3,300 new cases, nearly 200 new deaths. Germany is at almost 3,000 cases, and the USA has seen a spike of 4,557 new cases, with 57 deaths reported today. And it's a huge spike. We actually, right now, the USA has more open cases than South Korea does, which is quite telling. And if you look at the states, the majority of the cases reported today, and a majority of total cases and the highest number of deaths, are all in New York. So today alone, out of that number, New York had 2,329 new cases reported, with 14 new deaths, bringing them to a total of 5,367 new cases and a total of 34 unfortunate deaths. So there's that. And you know, unfortunately, New York, Washington, and California are hard hit. And we're seeing, the state of Utah was just recently at 1 case and 3 cases. Then we had 12, then 29, then 39, and now we're at 80 cases with 17 added today. So this thing is spreading very, very quickly. And talk to you very soon in the future videos. And I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your likes, your subscribes. Again, as I mentioned in the vast majority of other videos, when I remember, look, guys, I'm not monetizing these things. Even if I was, I think my channel would be demonetized because of the coronavirus, types of videos. But I'm not monetizing. I'm not providing you guys any sort of affiliate links. And, I have nothing to gain from this whatsoever. The majority of my videos go onto our business page. This is a personal page that I use in order to educate and provide updated information that I learn as this thing progresses. And the reason I do this is because I work from home, and I've had the opportunity, the great opportunity, to be able to educate myself and to find the necessary information as this thing progressed from the very beginning. And so that's why I've seen lots of growth and lots of changes and all these things that I've been reporting on. So I wish you guys all health, luck. I hope you're all doing well. I hope your loved ones are healthy. And please, stay indoors as much as you can, and avoid, human contact with those outside. I do believe that this, again, is still the tip of the iceberg. More is coming. I don't think we have any sort of hopeful news for a true vaccine. Personally, I don't think I would take a vaccine that would come in from any government for this. And I don't think we have any sort of real medication that is helping to alleviate this. Something to mention, do not take ibuprofen if you are showing any sort of symptoms of this illness. Take care, guys, and talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.